आप सभी को जो खबर देने जा रहे हैं, ये खबर आप सुनकर हैरान हो जाएंगे। फिलहाल आप सभी को हम बताना चाहेंगे कि असम के जो चाय है, या फिर कह लीजिए कि भारत जो कि पहले अव्वल नंबर में रहा करता था कि जो कि चाय उत्पादन को लेकर के, फिलहाल अभी 3 नंबर पोजीशन में आ गया है। फर्स्ट पोजीशन में जो कि चाइना अभी 1 नंबर में आ गया है। उसके बाद दूसरा नंबर में जो कि श्रीलंका है, और 3 नंबर में असम का या फिर भारत का जो चाय है वो फ़िलहाल 3 नंबर में आता है। आप सभी को बताना चाहेंगे, फ़िलहाल जो चाय बागान में जितने भी श्रमिक हैं उन सभी को जो हालत है बहुत ही हालत ख़राब होते जा रहा है, जिसको लेकर के आज सदन में गौरव गोगोई जो कि कांग्रेस के सांसद है, गौरव गोगोई, उन्होंने क्या कहा कि जो चाय जो कि इंडस्ट्री है, चाय इंडस्ट्री को लेकर के, और ख़ास करके वेस्ट बंगाल असम के जो भी चाय उत्पादन किए जाते हैं उस एरिया पे, या फिर जितने भी भारत में जो राज्यों में चाय उत्पादन किए जाते हैं उन सभी राज्यों को लेकर के क्या कहा गौरव गोगोई जी ने, उनका एक विजुअल अभी फिलहाल हम दिखाना चाहेंगे आप सभी को।
गौरव गोगोई जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। मैं डिमांड फॉर ग्रांट्स फॉर कॉमर्स इंडस्ट्री पर बोलने के लिए खड़ा हूं, और क्योंकि मैं उत्तर पूर्वांचल से आता हूं और उत्तर पूर्वांचल में विशेष रूप से असम में अगर एक कोई विशेष इंडस्ट्री है तो वो चाय की इंडस्ट्री है। और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने सब पूरे देश को बताया कि वो चाय बेचते थे, पर जो आज के तारीख में जो चाय उत्पादन करते हैं, जो बागान में जो श्रमिक हैं, उनके हाल के बारे में आज मैं इस सदन में उठाना चाहता हूं। सर, आज जिस प्रकार से चाय इंडस्ट्री जिस प्रकार से आगे बढ़ रहा है, आने वाले समय में बहुत अंधकार है, क्योंकि ये एक टाइम पे हमारा भारत का चाय पूरे दुनिया में मशहूर था। हम अव्वल नंबर पे थे, प्रथम स्थान पर थे। आज हम चौथे स्थान पे आ गए हैं। चीन हमसे आगे है, कीनिया हमसे आगे है, श्रीलंका हमसे आगे है। कैसे आए? कैसे ये छोटे कुछ दोस्त जो कीनिया और श्रीलंका, हम जो इतिहास में हमारे चाय उत्पादन में हम भारत के बाद आए, लेकिन आज के स्थान आज के समय में भारत से आगे हैं। कैसे? क्योंकि भारत की जो केंद्र सरकार है, जिस प्रकार से चाय बागान को एक्सपोर्ट में जिस प्रकार से सहायता देनी चाहिए थी वो नहीं कर पाई। श्रीलंकन टी को जिस प्रकार से सपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन में श्रीलंकन गवर्नमेंट ने दिया, जिस प्रकार से इंडियन टी के ब्रांडिंग और प्रमोशन में उनके गवर्नमेंट ने दिया, आज वही मांग आज वहाँ हमारी दार्जिलिंग चाय, हमारी असम चाय, वही मांग आज केंद्र सरकार से कर रही है। लेकिन केंद्र सरकार ने इस बजट में क्या किया? केंद्र सरकार ने टी बोर्ड का बजट कम कर दिया। केंद्र सरकार ने जो प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडस्ट्री है, डिपार्टमेंट फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एंड इंटरनल ट्रेड, इसमें 0.4% डिक्रीज है RE से। तो किसी प्रकार से केंद्र सरकार जिस प्रकार से इसमें महत्व देना चाहिए नहीं दे रहा। आज सर आप हैरान होंगे कि दार्जिलिंग चाय को लेके, असम चाय को लेके वास्तविक में नेपाल से बहुत चाय आके उस पर दार्जिलिंग का छाप लगा के, उस पर असम का छाप लगा के आज बेचा जा रहा है। आज जितना प्रोडक्शन दार्जिलिंग में होता है या असम में होता है, उससे 4 गुना 7 गुना ज़्यादा चाय दार्जिलिंग और असम के नाम में बिक रहा है। क्यों? क्योंकि चाय आता है नेपाल से और उसको पैकेज करके भेज देता है। तो इसीलिए हम चाहते हैं कि इसमें हमारी केंद्र सरकार और इस पर जिम्मेवारी ले। आज असम में जितना प्रोडक्शन होता है, आज असम में पैकेजिंग में होना चाहिए, पैकेजिंग पे वो जोर दे। आज असम में जो चाय श्रमिक के लिए सर बहुत हैरान कि आप सुनिए इस बात को। ऑन 2021 बिफोर द असेंबली इलेक्शंस ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल एंड असम, द फाइनेंस।
Honorable members, if the House agrees unanimously, then we will extend the House till the discussion on demands for grants on commerce and industry is over. The House agrees? Okay, please. House is extended.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you'll be surprised to know that in 2021, before the states of Assam and West Bengal went to election, in her budget speech, the finance minister announced a 1,000 crore package, 1,000 crore package for the development of tea estates and tea workers. What has happened to that? Absolutely nothing. This was known as the Pradhan Mantri Cha Shramik Protsahan Yojana. I will ask the ministry to please give us what has happened to the 1,000 crore, because the government went into the 2 states of West Bengal and Assam tom-tomming this proposal, and then once the election is done, that's it. We are in 2022, we have not heard about anything. The workers in tea plantations live in abject poverty. They don't have access to good water, they don't have access to good education. This 1,000 crore, I welcome it. I welcome it. Provided they spend it on sanitation, provided they spend it on education, provided they spend it on electricity, provided they spend it on hygiene and maternal health, because that's the problem of tea plantation workers. But where is that? So today, 30% of Assam's tea is being produced by small tea growers. It's no longer an industry, it's becoming a livelihood, and that's the case everywhere. Now, in a case where there are small tea growers, they need hand-holding. One big problem is that the quality of tea coming from small tea growers. But they need hand-holding. But where will that hand-holding come from? The Ministry of Commerce doesn't have that kind of extension mechanism that the Ministry of Agriculture has through the KVKs. They really hand-hold farmers, give them machinery, give them training, give them incentives. So I ask the government that today let us have a goal that Indian tea will be number one. It will be number one. It will sell beyond the Chinese tea. But for that, we need to focus on the small tea growers and come up with a policy. And if certain things are not possible in the Ministry of Commerce, then have a mechanism, think innovatively and creatively, so that Ministry of Agriculture can come in and also give those necessary training, subsidies, incentives, quality planting material, quality pesticides to the small tea growers, and you see what the small tea growers will do for you. So I'll move to a different subject, sir. So I'll move to the subject of FTAs. Now this government needs to clarify its stance on FTAs, because there's been a flip-flop since 2014. When in 2014, when the Prime Minister Modi took office, he went to Israel, he went to Australia and gave 1-year deadlines to FTAs. That, in 1 year, the India-Australia FTA should be done in 2017. When he went to Israel, he gave in 1 year we should do an FTA. Then they come back and absolutely nothing happens on FTA. Then the signals that come from the government is that no, FTAs are bad. In the past, UPA government did a lot of FTAs. Those FTAs did not help us. They did not do FTA. They went on and they withdrew from the RCEP. So many years of negotiations were held for India to join the ASEAN-led RCEP. And in the end, what does this government do? They walk out. Leaving our Asian partners in lurch. And now what the new signal which has come up? The new things that is coming from this government is that no, FTAs are actually good. Let us again focus on FTAs. Now Minister Piyush Goyal is trying to form a BIT with his American counterpart. In the previous administration, Lighthouser had come, met Piyush Goyal many times, but nothing. Even now we're talking about India, Australia, India, Israel. All these free trade agreements, the negotiations are pending. And sir, our strength, India's strength in these free trade negotiations is our services, is our IT workers, our engineers, our nursing. So we have to ensure that our young professionals are able to access these markets, because the world is aging. Japan does not have the workforce. America does not have the workforce. We have the workforce. If tomorrow in the future, our workforce is our strength. Remittances are so strong, such a strong form of contribution to a state's economy. You're from Kerala, you know how important remittances are. Look at what is happening in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, so many workers have come back and the remittances have gone down, and that has been another major factor why their economy currently is not doing well. So let us push through these FTA negotiations, complete them within the time, and ensure that our workforce is able to access the global world. My third point, sir, is on air pollution, something that I speak and I feel about strongly. My sense is that air pollution is just not the responsibility of the Ministry of Environment. We know that in pollution, the emissions from industry is one of the significant most sources of emissions, whether that's into the air or into the water. What responsibility is this ministry taking? What responsibility are the companies have to the company's registrar? So the companies these days, sir, they report their data to the CPCB, the Central Pollution Control Board, the State Pollution Control Board, and they know that these boards will not have any tooth or any power to act on them. And that's why I'm asking this ministry to maybe change their legislation, bring some new legislation, bring teeth into the Companies Act, so the companies are forced to report the emissions to SEBI. They are forced to remit report the emissions to the registrar, because the world is going that way. So yes. Europe, today, sir, Europe are planning to impose an additional tax on Indian goods, calling a EU border tax. So that will make our goods much more uncompetitive to European, and therefore companies in India have to re-engineer their processes so their products are greener and cleaner so that they can access. Otherwise, they will be shut out of the European markets. And it is a prerogative of the Ministry of Industry, not just of the Ministry of Commerce. And in the end, sir, I would just say that this government is talking about private investment. I understand this government, in this ministry is talking about private investment. I know the government has invested a lot through public investment. But public investment is not a substitute for private investment. And private investment today is stagnant. It is stagnant in the Northeast. The new Northeast industrial policy has led to a stagnation of private investment. I agree that the public investment has come, but where's the private investment? Where are the jobs? So the current Northeast policy is going to come to an end in March of this year. I request the government to take account of lessons of previous industry policies that were extremely successful during the tenure of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Take the right lessons, meet the chambers of business from the Northeast, focus on startups, focus on entrepreneurship, and come up with a new industrial policy that is actually acts and does not, as my friend Supriya said, is not just about jingoistic. So with that, sir, I thought there were some very important concerns I must raise, and I'm thankful to you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much.